Hurricane Maria is roaring through parts of the Caribbean already battered by Hurricane Irma.
Maria weakened slightly overnight to a Category 4 storm, but is now back to being a Category 5. Right now, you can see it is southeast of Puerto Rico, and it's on course to threaten the U.S. territory in the coming days. Maria was a Cat 5 hurricane when it made landfall on the island of Dominica last night. It tore roofs from homes and caused flooding. There are no immediate reports of death, but it is still too dangerous for officers to canvass the island.
President Donald Trump delivers his first speech to the UN General Assembly today. The president, along with French President Emmanuel Macron, are expected to take the spotlight at the annual gathering of world leaders in New York. Discussions will be dominated by the nuclear threat from North Korea, the spread of terrorism, and the impact of climate change. Yesterday, President Trump called on the United Nations to enact reforms and focus more on people and less on bureaucracy.
Months after Governor Mark Dayton vetoed the legislature's funding, that battle is still not over. The governor says he vetoed the funding to force them back to the bargaining table and renegotiate some disputed items in the budget. The state Supreme Court recently ruled that the veto was constitutional, but the end result may not be, so they ordered mediation to settle the dispute. Those talks begin this week. A senior fellow at the Mitchell-Hamlin Law School thinks if the Democratic governor and Republican legislature don't reach an agreement, the courts will likely step in again.
As I understand it, the legislature is simply unwilling to go back and reconsider these other decisions that the governor wants reconsidered, right? And the governor is unwilling to sort of back down. So the challenge will be to see if there's any space where there can be some agreement.
House and Senate leaders say their finances are dwindling quickly. The Senate has just $6 million in reserve and would run out of money on December 1st. The House has more than $10 million, so they estimate they'd run out of money February 1st. A total of 616 jobs at the Capitol are on the line.
A group in St. Paul wants the city to put the brakes on plans to redevelop the old Ford plant site. At City Hall yesterday, an attorney hired by Neighbors for a Livable St. Paul presented the group's concerns. He said it boils down to transparency. The group wants people to have more information before the council votes.
When you're dealing with something this vital, obviously my clients are residents of St. Paul. They're neighbors of the Ford site and have a deep and profound concern about how this all comes out. But I think we all should have a concern whenever there appears to be stonewalling, as appears to be the case here, when there are legitimate requests for information that are not being responded to.
The St. Paul City Council is set to hear from the public this week on the future of this site. It will make a decision next week on rezoning.
A pony is at the center of controversy in central Minnesota.
This animal touches my heart in amazing ways.
This is Tony. Pam Davidson calls him her wonder pony. But city leaders in Clarissa and Eagle Bend say he cannot stay inside city limits any longer. WCCO's Liz Collin dug into the debate and one woman's months-long fight.
Come on, Mister. Let's go. Come on. Isn't he cute?
Some might find it strange to share 800 square feet with the 300-pound Shetland pony.
That's my baby right there.
Unusual or not, Pam Davidson wouldn't want it any other way.
We're all different people in this world. We're all different people. And Tony is different, and I'm different.
Diagnosed with depression and anxiety, Pam calls Tony,
He helps me like you would not believe,
the wonder pony for what he's done to turn her life around.
This animal has kept me from dying. This animal has helped me become active. This animal has got me out of my bedroom where I locked myself away for 1.5 years after my sister died.
Pam says her pony is housebroken since he came from another family who raised him indoors. She's had Tony since May as an emotional support animal.
I have letters from my doctors.
Despite mental health professionals weighing in, it took just a few days.
All farm animals, including all types of horses, are prohibited from the city limits.
To hear from the cities of Clarissa and Eagle Bend, where she lives and spends her time.
Hey!
Clarissa's city administrator didn't want to be on camera, but told WCCO the emotional support title differs from a full-fledged service animal.
You are so good.
They're not entitled to the same protections under the Americans with Disabilities Act. Also citing safety as a concern. A truck driver was forced to brake when he found Tony wandering near the highway this summer.
Come on.
Pam has offered to build a fence and not take her pet into businesses where he's not wanted anymore.
They won't listen to me. Mama's boy, aren't you?
She doesn't want to move, but vows to do whatever it takes to protect the pony
I'm not going to give up fighting.
that Pam says has done the same for her.
I'd rather be homeless. I'm not going to let him go.
Liz Collin, WCCO 4 News.
So Pam has ignored the city of Clarissa's request to get rid of Tony. She has until Thursday to appeal a decision in Eagle Bend that denied her a variance for the pony. Either city would need a court order to physically remove Tony from town.